Hi guys, and welcome to a brand new YouTube channel. My name's Brian. I'll probably be doing the bulk of these videos. My wife Jess and I work on our lasers and UV printers virtually every day. We use these things to make a living. Right now, a lot of the focus is going to be on our refined color 6090 UV printers though. We own two of them. And we've found that there's a lot of people that own them, but there's maybe not a lot of resources out there for them right now. So we want to do our best to show you guys some of the things that we've learned along the way, and hopefully it helps you have a better experience and gain some more understanding of your 6090. So what I'm doing today is actually working on getting my 0 point here on the corner of the bed. So we're going to be working on adjusting our X and Y axes. So we're going to go over that and how to actually adjust them in the software for your refined color 6090. So the camera is kind of at an angle right now, but this direction in and out like this is going to be your Y axis, and this is going to be the travel path of the bed. So in and out, forward and back, however you want to call that, is your Y axis, and left to right, which is going to be this orientation, which is how your print head would move, is going to be your X axis. X left and right, Y up and down. X left and right, Y up and down, okay? So right now what I'm doing is fine tuning my X axis. And what I want you to see here is sort of the incremental changes that we've done here. Now, this was at a 93, and I'll cover the numbers in the software with you guys in a minute. But I just want you to see the changes right now and what adjustments to these mean. So this was at a 93 for my X axis. And you can see that this is the left edge of this rectangle is to the right of the left edge of this rectangle. But you also see that over here, I have no border on this rectangle. So this was 93. Now, we made some adjustments and we pushed that out to 93.8. And for those of you that don't know, when you're making adjustments for your X and Y axis in the software, you can work in decimal points. It does not have to be whole numbers. So you can really fine tune this and find your actual 0 point here to maximize your print space on your bed. Plus we want to do some work with some new jigs that we got. So that has to be precise, because that's based on locking that jig into the corner spot here. So without this being fine-tuned, everything that we print in that jig is going to be off. We also want to do some edge-to-edge canvases. So again, if this is not true and we line that canvas up to this edge, everything that we print on that canvas is going to be off. It's either going to be at an angle or it's going to leave white spots on that blank canvas, and that's not what we're looking for. So to get back to this, we went from a 93 here to a 93.8 there. And you can see how that one bumps out. And I pick up a little bit of the border here. Now, this one might be a little bit tougher to see, but I went from a 93.8 to a 93.9. And you can see that that sticks out just a little bit more there. And I pick up some more border here. And then I went to a 94.1 for this one, and now I've got a lot of border here, as you can see. So I'm going to move this out again. I'm going to go to like a 94.3 this time. What I want to do is try to gain, if you can see how there's a little bit of a white border here on this old template that we were using for something else. What I want to do is try to gain just a little bit of a white border for this rectangle that I'm printing. And then once I have that white border, I'll bring that back to the right a little bit more. So I'm going to keep pushing this rectangle out left. All right. So as you've already gathered from what I've done here, if I've gone from 93 to 93.8 and 93.9 and 94.1, I'm obviously increasing the number each time to move this to the left, which is what I need to do right now. So I'm going to go do a 94.3. So when you're adjusting yours, keep that in mind. If you need to move it more to the left, you want to increase the number. If you need to bring it back right, decrease the number. Same thing is going to be true for your Y-axis when we start adjusting that. A higher number means you're going to move this up the bed. a lower number means you're going to bring it back down. And I've also made arbitrary adjustments to my y-axis every single time on this. So this was at a 17, and I know that coming back to it, so that'll give me a base point to start from when I'm trying to get my y-axis all the way down here on the edge. And then I moved to 25, and then 33, and then this one was 45. So just arbitrary increments. These were 8 at a time, and then I went from 33 to 45, so I moved that up 12. So that also gives you kind of a rough visual guide for how big of a gap a span of numbers gives you. So this gap was 8, this gap was 8, this gap was 12. So again, just a rough visual aid for you trying to fine tune yours. But let's go back to the software. Let's make this a 94.3, and I'm also going to make another arbitrary adjustment on my y-axis and keep moving that rectangle up so that I can keep seeing those lines clearly. All right, so we're back at the software, and I apologize if this one gets a little bit shaky because I'm just holding this one freehand. So we're going to open Advance. Password's the same on all of them. It's 61. So 111111. Enter. We want to come over here and go to Other to bring that up. And then you can see here, well, let's see if we can. There we go. All right, so as I said before, you can see there my X is at a 94.1. So what we're going to do is switch that to a 94.3. And as I said, my Y was at a 45. I'm just going to pick another arbitrary number. I'll bump that one up to 60 and just keep moving that up the grid so that we can see that a little bit better. Very important, when you change something in this, you want to make sure that you hit File and then hit Save. You get your saving parameters. It says that it's been saved successfully. So very important, otherwise the numbers that you change here won't stick. Just going to say OK. We can close that out in the top right and then simply go back to RIP. And now we have our rectangle waiting to be printed again. Come back up here, hit print. Obviously, I've got this pulled down to 8 passes. This does not need to be a high quality print. I'm just trying to check where the lines are. And we're going to hit print and go from there. All right, guys, so we're all printed out, and this is a great result. This is pretty much exactly what I was hoping to see happen. So I don't know if you can tell, but on my side here in person, I can see where that's nudging out just a little bit right there. That's the bottom of my new rectangle. This line is. I know there's a lot of lines going on. I apologize if it's confusing to follow, but this line right here is the bottom of my new rectangle, and I can see where it went just outside the border of that one. But really what I was looking for was exactly what I got here, and that's what I said earlier. I was hoping to get that little bit of white border right there on the edge. So that tells me that I've now gone far enough left that I know that I've got the whole rectangle printing out. So now what I'm going to do is go back. I'm going to back that up 1. So I went from 94.1 to 94.3. So now I'm going to take this to 94.2. And hopefully that should put the right edge of this black line right up on the edge and eliminate that little bit of white trim that I'm getting right there. So this is a little bit of a tedious process, but once you get this dialed in, it shouldn't change. So it's worth it to spend a couple of minutes and do this. Really get familiar with your machine, its capabilities, know where your edges are. So we're going to print this out one more time at 94.2. Again, I'm going to decrease the number, which again is going to pull this to the right because I decreased the number. And again, hopefully we're going to eliminate that little bit of white border. So let's print that out now and see what we get. All right, so we printed out our 94.2, and I think you guys can still see pretty clearly here, I've got that little bit of white trim left on this. So that tells me that the 94.1 that I was at, which is this line down here where I don't see any white trim, was actually where I needed to be. So it was right even when we started the video, but doing a 94.3 and a 94.2 helped me to confirm that. So that was a good thing to do. So now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and probably pull this main sheet up, twist it around. I'll set this back to 94.1 and keep that right edge good on my x-axis. And now on my y-axis, I'm going to start fine-tuning this. Again, when I started, this was at 17, so I'll go back and probably drop that down to 16 and see where that gets me. And then we're going to continue to go through the process in the software of fine-tuning the y-axis, and when I'm done with that, I should have a perfect 0 point right on my corner. All right, so as I said I would do, I've got the X back to 94.1. Said I was gonna do 16 on the Y, but I decided to go 15.8. That's simply because I just looked at the spacing of what moving that 93 to 93.8 gave me before, so I had kind of an idea for how much like a single point increase was. So that 1 point seemed to be not enough to bring that all the way down to the bottom for the y-axis. So I decided to go 1.2, so we'll see where we land with 15.8, and we'll go from there. All right, so as promised, we flipped the paper around to get a fresh area to print our square in again, or our rectangle. But a great but unplanned lesson came out of this, so this is phenomenal that this happened. First of all, that 15.8 looks like a perfect guess. There's no overspray down onto this or even on that blue tape. That is perfectly on the edge. So it looks like that 15.8 on my y-axis was exactly where I needed to be. But if we look back here at our x-axis, you see that white border is back again. So what happened here was I noticed when I was pulling this up to flip it around that this had not been lined up to the right edge of the bed perfectly. It was close, but it was not perfectly aligned. And that's because, as you can see these squares here, we could be a little bit loose with this piece of cardboard that we put down, or like construction paper, whatever, because we were printing out the template. So as long as we put everything inside of those squares, it was going to work. But for this, for aligning it, this needs to be perfectly aligned with the edge of the bed. So since that 15.8 is good, I'm going to leave that alone. But I am going to go back and keep adjusting my x-axis again and pull this back over to the right and actually find that edge for real this time. So we're going to print out 1 or 2 more, and at the end of it, I should be spot on. All right, spared you guys the play-by-play, did a couple more printouts. This was number 3 and 4, but I went to 93.7, and I could tell that this line was a little bit thinner than this one by comparison. It may be a little bit difficult to see in the video, and that's totally understandable, but in person, it's pretty obvious that this line is a little bit thicker than this one, which means I got this full line back, so I was off the edge on this one, so I went from 93.7, bumped it up 1/10 to 93.8, which again, that higher number pushes that back left for me, so I get more of what I'm printing. This is perfectly on the edge. There's no overspray, no anything. So 93.8 is my number here. And let's see if I can cleanly slide that back. 15.8 was my number for here. So now I'm going to go back to the software. And because I've been changing my y-axis numbers to move this up and up and up the whole time. So I'm going to bring my y-axis. I'm at like 110 or something ridiculous up here. So I'm going to bring y back down to 15.8 to get it here. Leave it at 93.8 to keep it there, and then I'll probably pull this paper up one more time. I'm going to flip it over and give myself a nice clean edge. We're going to verify our results here, but at 93.8 and 15.8, that should give me a perfect 0-0 on the corner. And we'll talk about the numbers one more time before we end the video. All right, so we've got our parameters saved in the system again at 93.8 and 15.8. Flipped the piece of paper over, so I've got a nice clean side to see. No tape on the corner this time either. I want to make sure that I'm black all the way up to the edges on both sides when I print that rectangle. So my tape is off screen, but I've got a piece way over here and then a piece way up here. But all we do to perfectly align that, we just take 2 pieces of like acrylic strips that we've cut out for other things. I put one here with some overhang and then one here with some overhang, and just make sure to pull that down and push that over and line that up. These tables on the 6090, as I'm sure you all know, has the vacuum feature, so I turned that vacuum feature on, locked it into place, put my 4 pieces of tape down at 12, 3, 6, and 9 to leave those corners clear. And now we're gonna print it out one more time. All right, guys, and there you have it. That is a picture perfect result. I could not have asked for anything more for trying to find our true 00 on this bed. As you can see, that is perfectly black all the way up to our right edge and perfectly black all the way along the bottom edge for our rectangle. No white showing on our poster board. There's no overspray at all on either sides of the silver bed. So again, this is a picture perfect result. Could not have asked for anything more. I'm going to take us back to the computer screen and I'm going to show you one more thing. We're going to talk about those numbers one more time, like I said, and that'll wrap up our video. All right, guys, I know I said I was going to take you back to the computer next, but I just wanted to show we did a print while I was editing the video, but I just want you to see, like, we didn't modify anything. All we did was take those 2 pieces of acrylic, which are right there like I showed you before, use those to line up the edges on this, and because we nailed that 00, super perfect, very clean lines all the way up and down that print. So now we can trust our 00. All we have to do is drop our image in the lower right on our RIP software, print it, and as long as our material, our substrate is lined up, we're good to go. All right, guys, back at the computer for the final segment of this video. As you recall me saying in the beginning, we do have 2 of these refined color 6090s. So we've been working on our newest one right now, which is this guy. But you can see that's our other one over there. So we do have 2 of these that we're working with, okay? Now, the point that I want to make, and I also want to remind you the path on how to get back here if you're new to this, you're going to come to Advance. You're going to put in your password, which again is the same for all of them. It's 61. So 111111. Enter for confirm. You're going to come down here to the bottom right. If you can see that for other. And then that's going to put you in the screen that you need to be in for your numbers for your X and Y axis, all right? Tighten up on that. So as I told you guys, I landed on 93.8 for my X and 15.8 for my Y. As I hope you guys all know now, if you didn't before, if it's been a while since you had basic geometry, your X is left and right, your Y is up and down. Now, I cannot stress these 2 things enough. Number 1, if you make changes in these parameters, please do not forget to hit File and Save. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing your tail. You're going to wonder why you changed these numbers and nothing happened. Please remember, hit File. Oh, I went off of it. And Save to lock in those numbers once you make a change. If you don't see that Save Successfully screen, you didn't do anything, okay? And number 2, again, cannot stress this enough. These numbers are arbitrary. These numbers, this 93.8 and 15.8, are what it took for this specific machine. This one, not all 6090s, okay? These are my numbers for this machine. The numbers for that machine right there are going to be completely different for my 0 point than they are for this machine. So please keep that in mind. And I know that that x-axis number for me, that 93.8, is way outside the realm of what's normal. So please don't, if you're trying to find your 0 point in a bed, don't just go punch in 93.8 and 15.8 and expect it to work. Make small incremental movements based on where it is to start with. You'll get a feel visually for how much, say, 1 point or 2 points moves your 0 point, either left or right or up and down on your X and Y, however you're working. And then once you get much closer to it, you can start working in tenths, as I showed you here that I did, to really lock that in to the corner. So again, please keep in mind to save your numbers once you make a change, and that these numbers that you see here for me are just that. They are the numbers that are here for me. These are arbitrary, and yours will be different to find your true 0. So make small, safe movements to begin with until you get closer, and then make even smaller movements to fine tune it in, okay? If you guys have any questions, please ask them in the comments below. Maybe comment what other video you would like us to work on next if you're having a problem with anything related to your 6090s. And we'll be back with another one, and we can hopefully help you guys keep learning and keep getting comfortable with these machines. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye.